This is KGW News at noon.
We start at noon with a major escalation in the war in Ukraine. Russian missiles crossed over Ukraine and hit Poland, killing 2 people. This could have big implications because Poland is a NATO ally. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich. Here's a map that shows where it happened. A senior U.S. intelligence official tells the Associated Press that the missile hit a small town in Poland that borders Ukraine. Both Poland and the U.S. are a part of NATO, and at this point, we really don't know how the U.S. or NATO will respond. Though, under NATO, an attack against one is an attack against all. That's in the charter. A Polish government spokesperson says top officials are holding an emergency meeting right now. The missiles that hit Poland were part of a larger batch headed for Ukraine overnight. This is video of an apartment complex in Kyiv that was hit. Missiles killed multiple people in Kyiv and knocked out power. Okay, closer to home now, let's get a quick update on the midterm elections. More local numbers came out last night, giving clarity on races that were undecided. The updated ballot count, though, in Washington and Marion counties solidified. Democrat Andrea Salinas has the lead in Oregon's new 6th congressional district. The Associated Press also declared her the winner with 6,000 more votes than Republican Mike Erickson. Erickson has not conceded. And in Washington, the AP has Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez beating Republican Joe Kent, but her lead has narrowed to about 3,200 votes. Kent is not conceding the race either. He's telling voters to make sure their ballots were processed and weren't rejected because of a signature issue. And tonight, former President Donald Trump expected to announce his bid for the 2024 presidency. He's expected to make the announcement from his Mar-a-Lago resort at 9 p.m. So this would be the former president's 3rd run for the Oval Office. The move would come after a challenging midterm season for Republicans, with Trump's favored GOP candidates nationally performing poorly. Some Republicans are criticizing the former president for the election results. Other potential presidential candidates for the Republican Party include Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, and former Vice President Mike Pence. Meantime, the latest Trump-backed candidate for governor in Arizona is facing a projected loss, and Democrats there are adding another win to their column. NBC News is projecting Democrat Katie Hobbs to be the next governor in the battleground state, defeating Republican Kari Lake. Lake is a former TV anchor who linked her campaign to Trump and election deniers. And all of this is happening as some midterm election votes are still being counted throughout the country. Democrats keeping control of the Senate, but several House races are yet to be called. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest from Washington, D.C.
President Biden meeting with world leaders overseas, tackling global infrastructure and climate initiatives at the G20 summit today.
Today we're focused on investing together.
The president also using his time on the world stage to send a strong message about the midterm elections.
What we saw was the strength and resilience of the American democracy, and we saw it in action,
resulting in Democrats clinching the majority in the Senate.
The American people stepped back from the precipice and chose progress and getting things done, rather than the voices of divisiveness, nastiness, and lack of complete truth and honor.
Despite being in the minority, Senate Republicans are vowing to do whatever it takes to block what they call reckless policies, blaming Democrats for issues like rising crime and inflation.
We're going to fight hard for the American families this administration is leaving behind.
While some House races are still too close to call, Republicans appear on the verge of a takeover and are confident they'll hold a slim majority. Leadership roles on the agenda today in a closed-door election, but Republicans are still wrestling with midterm election losses.
How could we in the friendliest environment possible wind up potentially one vote behind where we were?
Some are pointing the finger at former President Trump and discussing moving the party forward without him. Mr. Trump is expected to announce another run for the White House tonight. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Time now for some other local headlines. A student was shot in a drive-by near Jefferson High School. This is the second shooting near the school in the last month. It happened just as the day was wrapping up around 3 p.m. Police say two 17-year-olds were driving near North Killingsworth and Haight Avenue. That's when someone in a different car fired shots at the students, hitting one of them in the shoulder. That student is expected to recover. So far, no arrests have been made. And a police chase with two suspects wanted in Oregon ended in a shootout in Washington. Police in Lewis County say they spotted the duo and started following them up I-5. The suspects took an exit near Grand Mound. That's about 7 miles north of Centralia. A witness says the men tried to steal a woman's car, shot her, then stole the witness's pickup instead. The woman who was shot is expected to survive. Police eventually caught up with them and shot and killed one of the suspects. The other suspect was hurt and taken to the hospital. We're still working to find out why they were wanted in the first place. And we have just received an update from Moscow police on the deaths of 4 students from the University of Idaho. Investigators are now ruling all 4 deaths as homicide. They say the students were stabbed at a home off campus Sunday afternoon. Investigators released the names of the victims. There are 3 women from Idaho and 20-year-old Ethan Chapin from Washington. No suspects are in custody there. Now to an update on another local story that we first reported this morning. A fire in northeast Portland that broke out just before 5 a.m. killed 1 person. This is video outside the former Rodaway Inn near Northeast Sandy and Lombard. The organization Do Good Multnomah now operates the building and serves houseless veterans in Portland. Portland Fire, though, got on scene pretty quickly, put out the flames. No word yet on the cause or the identity of the person who died. Oregon leaders are taking steps to deal with a rise in pediatric RSV cases. RSV is a respiratory illness. Yesterday, Oregon Governor Kate Brown issued an executive order to help hospitals deal with an influx of young patients. The order will allow hospitals to have extra beds for kids and bring in volunteer nurses and doctors. But the Oregon Nurses Association is calling for an even bigger response, including a delay in elective surgeries to try to free up nurses to treat RSV cases. So along with the rise in those RSV cases, colds and flu cases also picking up in Oregon. The governor's office says since late October, the pediatric hospitalization rate has more than tripled. And with holiday get-togethers happening soon, some doctors are worried. This is Aubrey. Her mom says she's missed at least a week of school and has been up at night with a bad cough, trying to fight off whatever sickness she's had for the more than 2 weeks now. She's been in and out of doctors' offices, even the ER, and they're still not sure if it's a bad cold, RSV, or the flu. Her case is pretty common this season. The Oregon Health Authority says this time of year is always bad, but this time around, it's expected to be worse.
We don't know yet if this RSV or influenza season will be more severe in Oregon than pre-pandemic seasons. But nationally, we are seeing some alarming trends of early and in some cases, very high circulation of both of those viruses.
So what RSV symptoms should you watch out for? Well, infants can have shortness of breath, grunting type noises, chest caving while breathing, bluish skin, and changes around the lips, tongue, and gums. Okay, all this cold weather, a really good reminder that we're really in the thick of cold and flu season. What do we have ahead of us, Rod? More cold temps?
Well, we have the sun. We have decent afternoon numbers, but yeah, much of this week in calm wind areas, we're going to continue to see freezing nights. It was in the mid-20s up in Cowlitz County at the Kelsville Airport this morning. We have a great time lapse. I think, I want to show you this. This is from this morning. That's one of our 2 Timberline cameras looking south of Jefferson. You can see 3 sisters popping up there, but look at the clouds and look at the trees blowing at the bottom of the shot there. They've had 44-mile-per-hour winds at 6,000 feet up at Timberline Lodge. Now we'll come out live, and actually the live pic shows kind of the same thing, and it still shows the winds blowing pretty good up there. We have clouds in some areas, but most of the state is clear. The one spot that's cloudy, you get into the East Gorge and you extend out into the Columbia Basin. This is the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles. And remember, temperature inversion patterns, which we're in, warm up top, cooler down low, often lock in clouds in the East Gorge out to the Pendleton area. 44 right now. That'll be likely a pretty steady temperature for those of you out in Wasco County this afternoon. The gorge has been a little breezy as well, but sunny and otherwise beautiful and pretty mild. 53, that's Chinook Winds Casino Resort Camp in Lincoln City. There's folks out playing golf at the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Aloha. We are looking at east winds out in Hillsboro, gusting to 35 out in Troutdale. Portland's at 51. We'll be low to mid-50s this afternoon. The 7-day forecast calls for some calming in the winds. We'll have that for you coming up.
Okay, thank you, Rod. Today, the United Nations is estimating that the world population has hit 8 billion people. This has big implications because as the population grows, it'll strain resources like access to food and jobs in a number of areas of the world already dealing with poverty. One of the fastest growing countries right now is Nigeria. And if trends continue, Nigeria will be the 4th most populous country in the world after India, China, and the United States.